What if everything you've heard about nursing homes is wrong? What if entering one could change your life in ways you never expected? Listen carefully. This 80-year-old woman has shocking truths to share with you. Meet Clara, an 80-year-old woman who has lived through more than most could imagine. She's seen the highs and lows of aging, and after experiencing life in a nursing home firsthand, she's here to reveal what you absolutely need to know before making that decision. From the emotional toll to the hidden costs, Clara's wisdom will open your eyes to what life in a nursing home is truly like, and why it might not be what you think. Stay tuned because her insights could save you from making one of the biggest decisions of your life based on myths, not facts. The truth about losing your independence. When Clara first entered the nursing home, she was hit with a reality she never expected. "I thought it would be like a cozy place where I could relax and enjoy my later years," she says. "But I quickly realized that things weren't as simple as I imagined." One of the hardest parts of her experience was the overwhelming loss of independence. At first, it was small things, having to wait for staff to help with basic tasks like getting dressed or going to the bathroom. But over time, those little losses added up. Clara explains, "When you're used to living on your own, deciding when to get up, when to eat, or when to go out for a walk, suddenly having someone else dictate your schedule feels like you're losing control over your own life." The loss of autonomy wasn't just frustrating, it began to affect her mental health in ways she hadn't anticipated. "I felt like a child again," Clara shares. "Someone was telling me what I could or couldn't do, and it made me feel small. It wears on you day after day." The constant feeling of being dependent on others took a toll on her self-esteem, leading to a deep sense of isolation and at times even sadness. But the impact didn't stop there. Clara also noticed physical changes as a result of losing control. "I wasn't moving as much," she explains. "I used to take walks around the neighborhood, but now I had to ask for help every time I wanted to go outside. I started feeling weaker and more sluggish. When you're not in charge of your own routine, it's easy to lose your strength." The loss of independence wasn't just a blow to her spirit, it was affecting her body too. What Clara wants you to understand is this: losing your independence isn't just about missing out on freedom. It can also negatively impact your health, both mentally and physically. The effects are real and lasting. For her, it was a wake-up call, one that made her realize how important it is to maintain some level of control over your life, no matter your age. The real cost of nursing home care. Clara knows all too well that the financial strain of nursing home care isn't something people always talk about, but it's one of the biggest challenges families face. "When I first arrived, I thought the cost would be straightforward, just a fixed monthly fee. But I quickly learned that was far from the truth," she recalls. Nursing homes often advertise one price, but as Clara soon discovered, there are hidden costs that aren't always clear up front. "There are add-ons for everything," she explains. "If you need extra help with mobility or specialized care, it's an extra charge. And let's not forget about things like medication management or therapy sessions. Each one comes with a price tag." Before long, those small fees added up to more than my family had expected. What many families don't realize is that the cost can quickly spiral out of control. "My daughter was shocked when she saw the bills," Clara shares. "She thought insurance would cover more, but it doesn't. What's left is a huge financial burden that families don't anticipate. The burden isn't just on the individual moving into the nursing home. It's on the loved ones who must scramble to afford care." Clara's daughter was forced to make tough decisions about what services to pay for and which ones to let go of. "We had to choose between things like personal care and extra comfort, and it wasn't easy," Clara says. Beyond the base costs, there are also the hidden costs of everyday life that families don't always think about when they're planning for nursing home care. My daughter had to pay for things like clothing, toilet paper, and even the transportation fees when she visited me, Clara recalls. And then there's the emotional cost, the time spent worrying about the mounting expenses, knowing there's not much left to save. The reality is that the true cost of nursing home care isn't just financial. It takes an emotional toll on families, too. Clara's story is a powerful reminder that what seems like a simple financial decision can quickly become a heavy burden on both the elderly person and their loved ones. The mental and emotional toll. One of the hardest truths Clara faced after entering the nursing home wasn't the physical changes, but the profound emotional and mental toll it took on her. You don't realize how lonely it can get until you're sitting in your room day after day with no one to talk to, she says, her voice tinged with the sadness of those early months. The isolation in a nursing home can be overwhelming, and Clara learned that it's not just the physical separation from family and friends that hurts. It's the emotional distance that creeps in, too. At first, Clara tried to stay positive. I thought I could make friends with the other residents, but it wasn't that simple, she explains. Many of the people she met had their own struggles and were often too tired or sick to socialize. Some days I felt like I was invisible. It's like no one really saw me, or if they did, they couldn't connect. Even when the staff was kind, it wasn't the same as having someone to share stories with or laugh about life's little absurdities. The constant sense of detachment from the outside world began to wear on her. The emotional toll of that isolation quickly took a toll on Clara's well-being. I started feeling like I was fading away, she admits. It was hard to stay motivated when the days blurred together and there was no real connection to keep me going. The loneliness affected her mental health, making her feel more anxious and sometimes even depressed. The lack of stimulation, both intellectually and emotionally, left her with a sense of emptiness that was hard to shake. Clara's story is a stark reminder of how isolation can negatively affect one's well-being in ways that are often overlooked. You can be surrounded by people but still feel completely alone, she says. It's important to realize that being in a nursing home doesn't just take away your freedom, it can also take away your sense of purpose and connection to the world. The mental and emotional toll of feeling cut off can have lasting effects on one's health, and Clara wants everyone to understand the weight of that isolation before making the decision to enter a nursing home. The importance of researching facilities. Clara's experience taught her one important lesson. You cannot just choose a nursing home based on its appearance or reputation. I made the mistake of assuming that all nursing homes were the same, she says. I thought as long as it was clean and well kept, that was enough, but there's so much more to consider. Clara wants everyone to know how crucial it is to thoroughly research nursing homes before making such an important decision. You need to dig deeper than just the brochures and the website, Clara advises. Go beyond the surface because what looks good on paper doesn't always match the reality of life inside those walls. She stresses the importance of visiting the facility multiple times at different hours of the day to get a feel for the atmosphere. It's easy to be impressed when you visit during peak hours when everything is polished. But what about late at night or on weekends when staff may be stretched thinner? Clara suggests talking to staff, residents, and their families, if possible, to get honest feedback about the level of care and attention provided. When researching a nursing home, Clara also emphasizes the need to assess the quality of care offered. Ask about the staff-to-resident ratio, she says. A good facility will have enough trained staff to attend to each person's needs. You don't want to end up in a place where staff are overwhelmed and can't provide the attention you need. It's important to inquire about the qualifications of the staff, too. Are they well trained in senior care? Do they have experience in handling specific medical needs? Clara also suggests paying attention to the little details. How do they treat residents? Are they patient and kind, or do they seem rushed and indifferent? How are the common areas? Is there a sense of community, or is it a place where people are just left to wait for time to pass? The environment also plays a critical role. You want to find a place that feels warm and welcoming, not cold and institutional, Clara advises. Look for spaces that encourage interaction, with plenty of activities and opportunities for socializing. You should never feel like you're just waiting for your days to pass. She also highlights the importance of cleanliness, but not just the visible kind. It's important to check the bathrooms, bedrooms, and even the kitchen areas to make sure everything is properly maintained. Clara's message is clear. Thorough research is essential. The decision you make could impact the rest of your life, and you owe it to yourself and your family to find a place where you'll be treated with dignity and respect. Her advice is invaluable for anyone considering a nursing home, as it's not just about finding a place to live. It's about finding a place where you can thrive, even in your later years. The caregiver shortage. One of the most shocking realities Clara faced after moving into the nursing home was the severe shortage of caregivers. "I never expected that," she says, shaking her head. "The staff were always doing their best, but there simply weren't enough of them to go around." The caregiver shortage is a growing issue in nursing homes across the country, and it has a profound impact on the quality of care that residents receive. Clara recalls the frustration she felt on the days when there simply weren't enough staff to meet everyone's needs. "There were times when I had to wait hours just for someone to help me get out of bed or go to the bathroom," she explains. And when you're waiting like that, you feel like you're not a priority. It starts to feel like you're just one more name on a long list. The shortage meant that the staff were often stretched thin, unable to give each resident the individualized attention they needed. This lack of attention had serious consequences. Clara remembers a particularly difficult day when she wasn't able to get assistance quickly enough and ended up in a situation where she hurt herself trying to move on her own. "It wasn't anyone's fault. They were just so busy," she admits. But that's the thing. The shortage isn't just an inconvenience. It can lead to accidents and deteriorating health. I saw it happen to other residents too. They needed more attention than what was available, and it took a toll on their health. Clara's experience isn't unique. Across the country, nursing homes are facing staff shortages that are affecting the quality of care. Residents are left waiting longer for basic assistance, and their physical and emotional needs go unmet. The stress on caregivers can also lead to burnout, making it harder for them to provide the compassionate care that residents deserve. When you don't have enough caregivers, the system falls apart, Clara warns, and as a resident, you're left with the consequences. It's vital to consider this factor when choosing a nursing home. The reality is, if the staffing isn't there, the care won't be either. For Clara, this issue was one of the hardest parts of nursing home life, and she wants others to be aware of it before making such an important decision about their future. A lack of personalized care. One of the most difficult parts of Clara's time in the nursing home was the realization that many residents, including herself, were treated in a very generalized way. "I felt like I was just another number on a list," she says, her voice soft with the weight of the experience. Nursing homes can be overwhelmed with so many residents, and I quickly learned that personalized care isn't always possible in those environments. Instead of receiving care tailored to her specific needs, Clara found that her daily routine was often determined by what the facility could manage, rather than what she actually needed. There were days when I'd ask for help with something simple, like organizing my medications or getting a special meal, but it wasn't always prioritized, she recalls. And while they did their best, it felt like they were treating everyone the same, rather than understanding the unique needs of each person. Clara wasn't the only one affected by this approach. Many of the other residents also found themselves facing care that didn't take into account their personal preferences, health conditions, or emotional needs. This lack of personalized care took a toll on Clara's well-being, both physically and mentally. "I started feeling like I wasn't being listened to," she says. I knew my body better than anyone. But when I wasn't getting the specific care I needed, I started to feel worse. It wasn't just about physical health. It was about feeling heard and seen as an individual. Clara experienced a decline in her health because she wasn't getting the attention she needed for her specific health conditions, whether it was managing her medication properly or getting the right physical therapy. She wasn't receiving the care she required to thrive. Clara's story is a powerful reminder of the importance of individualized care in nursing homes. Everyone deserves to feel like they matter, she says, and when you're in a facility, it's essential that they recognize you as a person with unique needs, not just a patient to be processed. Without that kind of care, it's easy to fall through the cracks, and that can have serious consequences on your health. For anyone considering a nursing home, Clara strongly advises taking the time to understand how they approach personalized care and ensuring that your specific needs will be met in a way that supports your well-being. Alternative options. Alternatives to nursing homes. You should consider. After her experience in the nursing home, Clara was determined to find an alternative that would better suit her needs, one that would allow her to maintain her independence while still receiving the care she required. I didn't want to feel like a prisoner in my own life, she says, reflecting on the time she spent in the facility. I wanted to feel in control again and have a say in my daily routine. One of the first options Clara explored was home care. I realized I could hire someone to help me at home, and that felt like a game changer, she explains. With home care, Clara could stay in her own space, surrounded by familiar things, and still receive the assistance she needed. It was comforting to have someone come to my house and help with tasks like meal preparation, bathing, and transportation. But the best part was that I could still make my own decisions. I could go to the park when I wanted, invite friends over, or take a nap without anyone telling me when to do it. Home care offered Clara a level of independence she hadn't experienced in the nursing home, allowing her to stay in control of her life while getting the support she needed. Another alternative Clara discovered was senior communities. I found a wonderful senior living community where I could live in my own apartment but still have access to support services when I needed them, Clara says. These communities provide a sense of independence while offering opportunities for socialization, activities, and assistance when necessary. It wasn't like a nursing home at all. It felt like a real community, she adds. In the senior community, Clara could enjoy a more active lifestyle, attend group exercises, participate in events, and still have access to healthcare services whenever she needed them. The balance of independence and support was exactly what she had been searching for. Clara's advice is clear. Before deciding on a nursing home, explore other options that allow for more independence and personalized care. Whether it's home care, a senior community, or another alternative, there are many ways to receive care without sacrificing your freedom. For Clara, finding the right option was the key to reclaiming her independence. And she wants others to know that they don't have to settle for a choice that limits their quality of life. There are alternatives out there that can provide the care you need while still honoring your dignity and independence. Conclusion. Clara's journey is a powerful reminder that the decision to enter a nursing home should never be made lightly. It's important to consider all the factors: the loss of independence, the cost, the quality of care, and the emotional toll before making such an important choice. But there are alternatives, like home care and senior communities, that can offer the care you need without compromising your quality of life. Thank you for watching. If you found Clara's story helpful, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Comment 9 if you think nursing home alternatives are worth considering, or 0 if you feel differently. Stay safe, stay informed, and remember, your independence matters.